you sold your apartment in 2014 to buy Bitcoin. What is the 2026 equivalent of selling your apartment to go all in?
Not tell anyone to sell their apartment and go all in if apartment is the majority of their wealth. Are fluctuations in crypto prices? Well, there are a lot of fluctuations. So people should understand the risks and would actually recommend a DCA, a dollar cost averaging. I'm very optimistic on RWAs, but DeFi is not going away. Perp DEXes, blockchains, they're not going away. So I think basically everyone will use AI. So I think instead of trying to fight against it, we should actually go along with the trend. Traditional finance, the best way to not be threatened by crypto is just to adopt crypto.
Okay, so now we have the man that needs no introduction, joining us virtually for Bali Clubhouse at Binance. CZ, thank you so much for joining today. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Great to be here, and sorry that you couldn't make it in person, but this is absolutely the next best thing. Now, we have a big basket of questions from the community. I'm going to dive right in with some of the messages and questions the community have submitted. So first up, we have a question from Andreas, and he says, CZ, you're definitely one of the legends in the industry. Your contribution through building Binance, as well as many other things, will be remembered for generations ahead. I have a few questions that I'm really looking forward to learning from you. Number one, you sold your apartment in 2014 to buy Bitcoin. What is the 2026 equivalent of selling your apartment to go all in? And would you actually tell a 25-year-old to do it?
Well, I would not tell anyone to sell their apartment and go all in if the apartment is the majority of their wealth. I think people should make that decision on their own. There are fluctuations in crypto prices. Well, there are a lot of fluctuations. So people should understand the risks and learn what are the downsides. And for me, I had a very strong confidence about Bitcoin's long-term growth, and also my own lifestyle does not depend on the Bitcoin price. So even if Bitcoin price went to zero, I would still be okay. Not everybody will be in that position. So I would not say that, but I think long-term, crypto will continue to grow. Bitcoin will continue to grow. BNB will continue to grow. Other strong crypto projects will continue to grow. But I would recommend, for most people, I would actually recommend a DCA, a dollar cost averaging. Basically, take a small portion of your income, say 1, 5, 10%, whatever doesn't affect your life, and buy some crypto that you like every day. But not any crypto, just buy the top crypto and every month, right? So I would recommend that strategy to most people.
Okay, great. Next question is from Albert here. He says, looking back over the past decade, what is one belief that you held about crypto that has completely changed? And what new belief do you think most people underestimate today?
Actually, there was quite a few. So I didn't think NFTs would be popular, but it became popular. I didn't think memes would be that popular. It became very popular. I still don't understand the logics behind those. I didn't think RWAs would be very big, even like a year and a half ago. But now they are quite big, and now I see the attractiveness of RWAs. You can trade 24/7. It's transparent, low fees, accessible to the whole world, etc. So now there were many things that I didn't see at the beginning, but then once they turn out to be popular, then now I understand them.
And next question is from Michael Y, and he says, do you think the 4-year cycle holds, or is that pattern still breaking? And then a follow-up question and if it is breaking, what will actually drive the next market cycle? Is it RWAs, as you've just mentioned, tokenized equities, or does it come from somewhere else like Perp DEXes, perhaps? And where would you put your own money in the next 3 years?
Well, I think first part of the question, I think the 4-year cycle still holds very strongly, actually. If you look at the 4 years, 4 years ago, we were kind of in a bear market. That's kind of where we are now, I think. And so far, the 4-year cycle has been very strong. What's the next thing? That is very hard to predict. So far, I'm very optimistic on RWAs, but I'm not sure if that's the thing that will take all of crypto to the next all-time high. I'm not sure if it's some other thing, but that's very hard to predict. Even in 2020, I would not have predicted DeFi. 2020 was a DeFi summer. So like those specific things are quite hard to predict even 6 months earlier. So we'll just have to see. So we just monitoring trends, and then we'll see.
Okay, that's great. And the next question is quite similar, but maybe there is a little bit more in terms of different trends in the industry. I think everyone's asking in CZ's crystal ball where the future's heading. The next question is from Arif. It says, with the rise of AI agents, RWAs, DeFi, what sector do you believe has the highest potential over the next 5 years? And for developers and community builders, where would you advise them to focus their attention?
Okay, so I think all those three things are very related. I think number one, DeFi is not going away. So Perp DEXes, DEXes, blockchains, they're not going away. In the last, I would say, from the last 6 to last 2 years, like there was a 4-year period where the U.S. administration was quite openly against crypto, so there wasn't a lot of innovation, and everyone was doing meme coins. So now I think we actually see more innovation. But if you want to build a new blockchain, it takes a couple of years, right? So we're actually seeing that there's actually more innovation on the technology front, but price wise, it doesn't reflect it yet. RWS is happening. The TVL is growing on chain, and is actually is growing very quickly on BNB chain. Agentic AI, agentic payments, AI ready blockchain is growing very quickly as well, and AI will pay for us. It doesn't pay for us just yet, but it will. You will trade for us. You will pay for hotels for us, etc. That will come. So and there will be thousands of millions more transactions than today. So I think all of those things will come. I'm not sure which one is the next trigger for which one is the biggest for the next 5 years. That's just very hard to predict. I think all of those things will grow. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball. So, so I don't really know for sure, but we encourage everybody to build. Yeah.
Great. And you mentioned AI agents there, and actually around 50% of the questions that we had submitted from the community are AI and agent related. So we're going to dive into some of those questions now. The next question is from NWN Labs. And the question is, CZ, you've said that crypto must be agentic ready and AI agents will soon make payments for us. Given that AI can front run trades and find vulnerabilities faster than any human, how do you prevent the agentic future from becoming a chaotic, manipulatable nightmare for retail traders? Will Binance build safeguards to protect humans from being outmatched by AI bots?
Well, I think the question has assumption that AI is only available to some people. So I think basically everyone will use AI. While AI is fast at helping to find vulnerabilities, but if developers use use that specific capability, it allows the developers to find the vulnerabilities faster and build safer systems. So things will just happen faster, but it doesn't mean it's always bad. Some people will use AI to trade and earlier than others, and they will use it better than others. But then other people will learn from it. So I think most people will use some type of AI. Just like today, everybody uses the internet. Everybody who trades have some kind of like technical analysis or stuff like that. Those are all just tools. The tools will be used by everybody. Hopefully, I would not say my expectation is not for Binance to build safeguards to protect humans from like other people using AI bots. We should just make AI bots available to everyone so that everyone can use it. It's like, look, once the tool is out there, some people is going to use it, and it's going to be hard to detect who's using AI, who's not. Especially on a trading API, right? So on trading API, you just see orders coming in. You don't know the decision engine behind it. But what we should do is basically make AI trading available to AI decision making for trading available to everyone. This is already happening, right? CoinMarketCap have an AI agent that you can ask, why is the price going up? Why is the price going down? I believe Binance rolled out a version of AI Pro, which help people trade. I never used it myself. I don't really trade. But I think that feature will just iterate over time for sure. So I think instead of trying to fight against it, we should actually go along with the trend. Just like crypto, right? Like traditional finance, the best way to not be threatened by crypto is just to adopt crypto. So it's the same mechanism, at least in my view. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just embrace the new technology. So Vivit is also asking in terms of the AI agents. He says, as AI agents become capable of owning wallets, making payments, but also interacting with smart contracts, what role do you think crypto infrastructure will play in enabling the AI economy? And then on top of that, from a founder and visionary, what's one opportunity in the space that you think founders could still be missing?
I think there's a lot of opportunities out there. Like there's more opportunities today than there were, like say 2 years ago without AI or 3 years ago. Um, I think AI will or blockchain will play a very important role for AI. When AI wants to transfer money, AI is much easier for it to use a crypto native payment system or just financial system. That's the most programmable, neutral, borderless, global, fast, low cost financial infrastructure. So AI if AI is going to use your credit card, then you have to be getting involved all the time. There's like I don't know, face verifications, SMS verifications, and then this transactions gets blocked randomly. All of these problems that happens with traditional financial payments that's designed for humans. For AI, those things are not the best way. So I think blockchain and also with AI, it should allow people to transact much more globally. There's no reason why you couldn't hire your employees or your developers or pay for services across the world. Today's payment system doesn't really allow that very well. So I think AI is going to play a very critical role. All of those things, any founder can build any of the missing pieces. I'm not sure which one is the most interesting one. The ecosystem have to come together for the ecosystem to function. So everybody have to build a little piece in there. Hopefully, everyone benefits. But the more value you can provide, the better. Yeah.
And the next question is from Jack, and it's saying, CZ, with such a busy role on day-by-day basis, how are you using, and if you're using AI to optimize research, keeping track of what's going on in crypto and the wider market, and how do you stay ahead of what's going on in the world?
I use AI like just as I assume just as most other people do. I when I don't know something, before I do a web search and then I have to filter all the results, block all the ads, and then like, read a few different articles to get a summary of it. But most of the time now, I ask AI, right? So that's probably the simplest use case of AI. I don't really write a lot of code anymore, so I tried AI coding. I couldn't get very far with it. I just couldn't do anything meaningful. For example, I was trying to use OpenCloud to filter my Gmail, which is full of spam, right? So I don't use email really. So, but I just couldn't make it to do a good enough job, so I gave up on that. But I think AI is very useful for coding. I think it's probably the highest value right now. So for most developers, they should use AI. But I don't write it. I don't like. But even if you use AI, you still have to I recommend you understand every line of code that AI writes for you. This way, it's not a black box. So I still recommend people to sort of know the depth of their code. So using AI definitely improves efficiency for developers by I don't know 5x, 10x, but you still have to read the code. So I don't have time to read the code, so I'm not an expert at it anymore. So I don't use AI as much as people would like. I also don't really use AI for news. I find it just more interesting to look at raw X feed, which is probably there's some probably AI stuff in there. Many people use AI to post, but you know I look at I look at people I follow and get my news that way. I don't read traditional news, so I don't use AI to summarize like traditional what they call mainstream news. I find those news are a bit too opinionated in many cases. So I just use X most of the time, and I use Binance Square. So that's kind of how I get my news. I don't use AI for it that much. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel most journalists also get their news from X, so you're kind of skipping a step there and getting the news fastest to you in that case.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from GD, and this is moving over into Giggle Academy and the work that you're doing there. So the question is, with education being central to your next chapter through Giggle Academy, how do you envision the convergence of AI, decentralized identity, gamified education? How do you see that reshaping the next generation of learning, especially in developing and emerging economies?
Yeah, well, I think, well, number one is Giggle Academy is a very rewarding project. Like it's a free education platform I'm building with a team for people who don't know. Um, and it already has like more than 1 million kids learning through the platform, so which is great. We tried using AI to teach kids directly, and right now Giggle Academy is targeting 2 to 6 year olds, very young kids when they first start learning. That's kind of where we started building our content. Um, the developers actually use a lot of AI to create that content. But what we found is that if you just use AI to teach a kid, they the chat based AI doesn't prompt the kid. So the kid have to ask the AI a question, but after 3 or 4 questions, the kid stop. So we have to, our developers have to, our content creators have to use AI to create that content. Also, we found that pure AI content is actually less attractive for kids. Kids like human-made content for whatever reason. Like even very young kids can detect that. And we still use AI quite a lot, but there's still quite a lot of human drive in there. Like humans have to use AI to create the content, and it can't be like very complete AI. So for example, on the Giggle Academy storybook, well, the first version is like we just have one button, you can have AI create a storybook for you. But we found that actually kids don't; those storybooks are not popular. The popular ones are what humans actually make a story and then use AI to generate certain components of it. So I think yeah, AI is very important. Education is a big part for at least for my effort. I will continue to I will continue to spend my effort on it, both time and money. And we have a team of 60 guys developing at Giggle Academy. That will continue. Decentralized identity, I think so far hasn't taken off as much. To be honest, I think decentralized identity is less important than people imagine, for the reason that blockchains are actually extremely transparent. It's actually very easy to track transactions through the blockchain, and especially now using AI coupled with, say, KYC information from a few centralized exchanges. So the privacy aspect of blockchain is actually a problem. It's not private enough. Using banks and cash is much more private. So I think decentralized IDs is a good concept, and the decentralized IDs may make the blockchain even less transparent. I think decentralized IDs are important, and I know many government are implementing their government blockchains for decentralized IDs. But I don't know how exactly that's going to shape up over time. We actually invested in a few companies that do that. Like Sign is one of those companies. And then gamified education I think is very important for developing economies. Actually, Indonesia is a big market for Giggle Academy. It's probably one of the top markets for Giggle Academy. I think Giggle Academy is very popular there. If we have the large, I think by IP address, by some very rough calculation, Indonesia is one of the top countries. So so it is used very heavily in the country. Yeah.
That's great. And you've mentioned Indonesia there, which obviously is where Binance Clubhouse is taking place this year. So we do have 2 questions on Southeast Asia and the region. So first question is from Kevin, and the question to you, Susie, is Indonesia is one of the world's largest crypto communities. What do you think, if anything, is still missing from Indonesia to become the leading Web3 ecosystem in Asia?
Well, I think there's still quite a few things missing. I think Indonesia is very active. There's a very active crypto community. Indonesia does not have its own stable coin. It doesn't have a lot of its own tokenized assets like RWAs. Like the Indonesia stocks are not tokenized yet. The real estate there, the gold, the oil, the rare earth minerals, those things are not tokenized. Even the government bonds. Well, if you think about U.S. dollar stablecoins, Tether is backed, at least according to what they say, is backed mostly by U.S. Treasuries. That's an indirect version of tokenized government bonds. So Indonesia doesn't have that. Which country doesn't want 300 million or 500 million users to buy all over the world to buy your government bond. That like to buy like $200 billion of your government bond, right? So every country should want that. And also having your currency, having a stable coin, having your currency available natively on the blockchain as a pricing mechanism, as a pricing discovery mechanism is very important. So I think those things are missing, which also reflects that we also need clear regulations on those things. So I think Indonesia, while is quite is an extremely active crypto market, there's still a couple of things missing from the natively built asset types in crypto. So I would love to see some of those things becoming a reality.
Yeah, and you've mentioned the infrastructure there. Guy has a question regarding the adoption of everyday mainstream users. So, as crypto adoption continues to grow across Southeast Asia, what do you believe needs to happen for the industry to move beyond speculation and become part of everyday life for the millions of people in the region?
Yeah, I think, well, the most obvious one everybody expect is basically crypto payments, right? So do you use crypto to pay for coffee? Today, in most parts of the world, that's still a very small fraction of transactions going on. So we need to make that happen, but it's happening. If you use Binance Pay, you can pay any merchant that accepts Visa, etc. So then the merchant doesn't even have to have the merchants doesn't even have to accept crypto. They receive whatever they receive. And also, if you use Binance Card, I believe is not available in Indonesia yet. So if we can make that available, that'd be great. But in other parts of the world where Binance Card is available, then people can use Binance Card to pay for coffee, which is basically using your Binance account, the crypto in your Binance account to pay directly. And so it's happening. I think quick payments needs to get there. Also, find other financial tools like debt, borrowing loans needs to be available. Other financial infrastructure all need to be there at the same time. So right now, yes, many people view crypto as a speculative asset, like investment asset. They look at the price fluctuations, but I think eventually we will get there. People will use crypto without talking about it. Like, no, crypto will just be part of your financial system. Yeah.
And next up, so we are seeing recently some security news circulating, particularly in the crypto native industry. Felix has a question on this. The question is, CZ, we frequently see mainstream security failures like hardware wallet hacks and seed phrases remaining way too complex for ordinary users. If Web3 is to achieve true mass adoption, what technical breakthrough or wallet standard will finally replace seed phrases and make self-custodial security completely invisible to the average person?
That's the big question. I honestly don't know what the answer is. But when we solve that problem, when the industry solve that problem, like there's a very good solution that doesn't require most ordinary users to remember the seed phrase, etc. And the wallets are very secure. I think that's when we will see a huge amount of mainstream adoption. That's kind of the hurdle. The problem right now is most wallets are too hard to use for what we call normal people, like non-tech people. So I don't know what that's going to be, to be very frank. Many people are making inroads here and there. Like there's social wallets, there's multi-sig wallets, there's a whole bunch of different wallet designs. But overall, none of them are very, very easy to use. So we will get there eventually. I don't know what the solution is. But I know quite a lot of teams are working on it. And through Easy Labs, we invest in many different type of wallets. I think hardware wallets should not be written off just because there's a recent hack with with Cold Wallet, or with Cold Card. I think just because of that in one instant, which is very unfortunate, and it does impact a lot of people who use self custody. We should understand there's no technical solution that's 100% bug free. That's just the world we live in. Anything that's digital could have bugs. Anything that's software could have bugs. So we should learn how to deal with this type of risks. But I actually think that with AI, we're going to discover some of the bugs much quicker. So it's actually going to be if the developers use AI properly, we can find these vulnerabilities much quicker, and the software is going to become more secure. how to make it easier to use is actually the challenge. So we need to find ways. Well, more developers should work on how to make it easier to use.
Great. And now, final question is from Andes, who started the question Q&A off this morning. It was, CZ, if you were 25 years old today, broke, no name, no network, what's one piece of advice that everyone gives to young people that you would ignore, and what would you replace it with? Because there's so much advice out there.
I think people give a lot of. Okay, so humans have a natural tendency to view everyone else's world through their own worldview. But in reality, everyone lives in a different world because everyone is in a different situation. So I would actually ignore many of the specific of advices. Let's say buy this, buy that, sell this, sell that, etc. I think those are too specific, and they may not fit your situation. What I would replace that is spend 30 to 60 minutes. Especially the younger you are, the more time you should spend learning. Spend 30 to 60 minutes every day to learn about stuff, right? Like just block an hour every day. You could be learning on YouTube, you could be learning on X, you could be learning, but it has to be deliberate learning. You have to be exploring something. You can be learning through AI. You can ask AI questions for like 60 minutes, but it should not be generic questions like, oh, why is the market up and down? It should be deep, right? You should ask every question you ask should be 3 to 5 levels deep. I actually highly recommend just reading books, not fiction, just self improvement, learning books, etc. Books usually go quite deep on specific topics that they want to cover. So if you spend an hour learning every day, your life will improve just magically, slowly, not overnight, but every day the way of your thinking will change. The way you analyze problems will change. You will become deeper. You will be a deeper analyst, and then you will make better decisions over time. And there's many books out there. On Amazon, a book costs like $9 or $10, $9.99. It's one of the cheapest ways to gain knowledge. And there are many even other free books, etc. So that's, I think, learning for an hour every day is what I would recommend.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of the AMA. CZ, thank you so much for all of the wisdom that you shared and answering so many of the community questions. It was such a pleasure to have your insights. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have fun, guys.